So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this on YouTube, first of all, hi, my name is Alexander, also known as Senrievitz, and today I will give you my overview thoughts about what do I think of Trap Assassin character in regards to how good is she when it comes to leveling on normal difficulty. Now, as far as skill choice that I will be focusing on, I will talk briefly about Fire Blast. I will also talk in greater details about Wake of Fire, and I will touch upon martial arts, no, not martial arts, excuse me, Shadow Disciplines skill that is called Burst of Speed. And just like before, I am not going to be analyzing in depth the gear aspect, whether or not you have gear or without having gear. I will strictly talk about the mechanical nuances of each individual spell. So the gear topic or dilemma is going to be out of the table. Now, before getting into this discussion, first of all, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and turn the post notification bell on if you enjoy this type of videos and you want to see more of it. Alright, let's get to the skill points, or the skills just in general. As far as Trap Assassin goes, I know people calling it Lighting Trap Assassin, but you will be leveling up on normal and through the initial 3 acts of Nightmare difficulty with your fire traps, at least when you're playing solo. So, the skills are as follows. Actually, it would be better if I go out of town so that I can actually show them to you in action rather than just talking about them without any kind of details. Without any kind of display, I mean. First skill, Burst of Speed. What does it do? It basically allows you to throw a grenade in your enemies. It explodes with a slight delay. It has a deceptive range. It stagger. Just what do I mean by that? Meaning that this blast, it's actually bigger than you would expect. When the blast is happening, it staggers at least 2 to 3 meters wider than the blast actually shows it to you in the game. It staggers and does damage. And also, yeah, it has a great stagger. You can stagger everybody, excluding act bosses on the map, even like smaller enemies, bigger enemies, and so on and so forth. The only problem with this spell, though, because it like explodes with the delay as the initial spell that this character has, it's great, but the more like the further you go into the game, the more you start to realize that enemies starts to surround you quite fast, and this becomes not so useful anymore, at least on normal difficulty. But before we move into the next spell, let's also talk about the damage type. The damage type is fire, and it has tons of synergies, which will be important later on higher difficulty, such as Hell, because it's actually with this spell, not with Wake of Fire, with Fire Blast, you will have the opportunity to deal with immunities on Hell difficulty, but it's something that I will talk more in depth once I will get more experience from it. This is something that I have just seen briefly from the guides and all kinds of videos that I have watched before starting a playthrough with this character. Benefit, it doesn't really have that high of a mana cost, to be honest, and you can throw it very far away. Observe, it actually went like literally off screen. Like you can hit enemies from one side of the screen until the next side of the screen, kind of playing like a mortar character, you know. You can hold it and then you can throw it away. Now, it scales from your attack speed, just like with your other traps, not from your casting speed. So the more attack speed you have, the faster your character will be throwing those grenades, and the faster she will set up those traps on the ground. So that's good. I also already said about the stagger, so the stagger is good, the damage is alright for the starting skill, the range is deceptively good, and the range of explosion, the radius of explosion, and the range of the skill itself, it's actually superb. No, well, it's like you can shoot from the one side of the screen, throw the grenades until the next side of the screen, and if enemies are going to get closer to you, you can predict that, and you can, you know, throw them preemptively on the ground like this. See? To create this like line of explosion in their pathway while when they are approaching to you. So yeah, this is a really useful tool which will serve you well all the way up until the point when you will get to Wake of Fire. Now, Wake of Fire is a basically, you know, by the initial description when I was first playing the game, I thought of it as just a trap that you place on the ground and enemies have to step on it for it to be triggered. No, not the case at all. What does it look like? This skill... Oops, why am I keep using potions? This skill looks like a turret. A turret with a flamethrower attached. When you place this turret, it does a fiery damage in a cone radius. Let me actually find the enemy so that I will show it to you how it specifically works. So this is the enemy, you place the turret, it starts doing damage like this. Now, it says, check this out. It says it hits 5 times, like the turret itself shoots 5 times, but the skill itself, when it passes through the enemies, it hits them many times, like literally multiple times in a row. To the point where it doesn't only does damage, but it also staggers them quite effectively. And again, just like with your Fire Blast, it's good for staggering enemies. Works for everything except bosses. The stagger effect, I mean. When it comes to the damage, it's once again, Wake of Fire also does the fire damage, and it synergizes from your Fire Blast, so once you will be finishing leveling your Fire Blast to the maximum, you could put more points into the Fire Blast to maximize this skill's damage, and you can also unlock or put more points to the Wake of Inferno to boost the damage of Wake of Fire even further. As far as the nuances of the skill goes, now, first of all, you don't have to excuse me, you don't have to wait until the enemies are going to get closer to this turret. My throat hurts a bit. It will start doing damage when they are going to be stepping inside its radius. So it doesn't really show it on the map, but I'm assuming it's something like this. The radius itself, like it starts doing damage like this. Now, one thing you have to note about this spell is in close corridors or in close rooms, when it hits solid objects, like immovable objects, the fiery spell will vanish. Yes, it will still do damage. The turret itself will not be inactive, it will still be active, but the damage itself will not be there simply because the spell will break, the fiery cone will break against a movable object. It will disappear from the map. So it's not the best choice for you to use in confined corridors, you know what I mean? Like I have showed already in the stream when I was going through the Maggot Slayer or in like other places when there is like next to no room for breeding. Additionally, it does damage only when it flows through the solid ground. What do I mean by that? If you teleport in the Arcane Sanctuary and you start using this fire spell, this Wake of Fire, you will place it on the ground, yes, but until those ghosts are going to be directly under the solid ground, your turrets will not hit them. So keep this in mind. What else I can talk about? Another nuance that you can only place, I guess it's not new for people who have already played with this class, but as for me, as a newcomer, and as a person who makes the content for newcomers or beginners in general, you cannot place more than 5 turrets at a time. How can you determine how much, like if you can place more or not? Check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, no, I take it back. 4 turrets at a time. You cannot place more than 4 turrets at a time. See? When you start placing the new ones, the previous one will explode. I don't know if this explosion does damage by itself. It's actually hard to check because when you want to check this on the enemies, the turrets will start to shoot automatically. So it's not necessary also. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's 5? Yeah, I think it's still 5. So 5 turrets in total. Anyway, if you see this explosion, then you realize that you no longer can create any more turrets, and you should stop, or at least like wait a little bit until you create a new one. If you are thinking about counting in your head how much shots each individual turret is had done already, forget about it. There's no need to memorize it in your head. There's no display, there's no point in this. Just, I don't know, like if you are doubting that some turrets are going to run out of ammo, because when they are running out of ammo, I don't think that they are exploding, actually. I may be wrong on that, I haven't checked this particular aspect, but from my experience, what I did is I basically spam. Like, I spammed the new ones, I forced the new ones to appear on the screen, and that's pretty much it. So there's no point in trying to count whether or not you still have ammo or you already ran out of it. Well, let's talk about its range. Its range is not great. I mean, it has, like, I don't know, like this cone. Like, it travels, like, from here all the way, like, slightly to here, and then it ends. So that's, I guess it's, like, kind of a drawback when it comes to range in comparison to the Fire Blast. Another nuance that I want to discuss is the auto-targeting. Means that it's hard for me to show it in action, so if I will find those clips, I will include in this highlight. But basically, if the enemies are moving around, like, let's say they will attack you, like Fallens, for instance, they'll attack and then move like this, like circle around your character, and then just move away from the turret will auto-target them. It's both good and bad. It's good because their cone of fire can change the direction immediately on the fly. Yes, this like flame throwing effect can be literally shifted sideways. Like, it starts here, like the cone goes here, and then once the moment the enemy is moving, it goes directly here. I have seen this, it had happened to me a couple of times, so you can benefit from that. Now, the problem with this is that turrets prioritize targets on their own. You cannot make them attack the target like that you want. You know, you want to focus, let's say you are fighting against, like on hell difficulty, in theory you're fighting against a Minotaur that has this, you know, aura enchanted fanaticism. You want to kill him as fast as possible, but instead your turrets will be focusing any other creature. Yeah, this thing can happen. That's the drawback. So the range is a drawback, the slight drawback. I'm not saying that the biggest problem in the world, slight drawback. The range, the limited number, and the fact that you cannot like pinpoint, you cannot focus the exact target that you want. But that's pretty much it. Everything else, I guess, against solo target or against target with high amounts of fire resistance is not the greatest of skills, but I don't know, normal difficulty I haven't encountered like any kind of problem with this particular spell. Like, once you've created 5 turrets, it's not the best DPS spell in terms of fire damage in comparison to, like, let's say Sorceress with her fireball, but it gets the job done still, and it allows you to, most importantly, it allows you to, I forgot to talk about this aspect, to be very maneuverable. In comparison to other spellcasters, you know, that are forced to stay on one place and cast their spells, you can just do this. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're starting firing and you can run. Oh yeah, I have forgotten about the other thing, sorry, about the range. So you can actually create them pretty far away from your character. Like, let's say you are not surrounded, you are on the one side of the screen and the enemies are across the river or across some chasm. You can do this. Like, you can create turrets pretty far away from your character. Like, yes, their range of the range of the turrets, the fire range is limited, but not the range upon which you can create them. You can create them from like one screen, from one side of the screen to the next one, and they will start shooting. Useful again if you want to aggro somebody or just do damage to someone specific. So yeah, that's that. But when you created them, you don't have to... Yeah, you have to like cast it from time to time to refresh them to make the new ones to appear, but you don't have to stay still. You can run around, you can kite, you can do whatever you want. That's major plus, especially since like you're a spellcaster, you are kind of worried about heavy hitters in melee or just heavy hitters like from magical damage, aka lost souls or lost dolls. You don't need to do this. You cast it and then you run. So the turrets are indestructible. Another feature, they cannot be damaged. You know, some games have this turret system, or just like, you know, stuff in general that you can create, but they can be destroyed. Turrets are indestructible. Traps are, as far as I know, are also indestructible. So that's major plus from my point of view. So yeah, that's that. That's a pretty solid spell upon which you will rely, like I've said, all through all the normal difficulty, and from the Act 1 until the end of Act 3 on Nightmare difficulty. Afterwards, you will respec into the Lighting Trap Assassin. Yeah, that's pretty much about the traps. Now, nothing in terms of nothing in terms of martial arts. As far as Shadow Discipline go, Claw Mastery is just a skill that you will unlock to be able to get to the Burst of Speed. With this archetype, with the Trap Assassin, you don't benefit that great from Claw Mastery to begin with. Burst of Speed. What can I say about Burst of Speed? This skill is very good. This skill, if I can compare it to something, you know, I can compare it to Paladin Aura, the one that gives movement speed, but it also has extra benefits. Yeah, the effect itself is temporary. It lasts kind because of all the plus skills that I have already. It lasts like 216 seconds, which is greater than 3 minutes. So you cast it once on yourself. It's kind of hard to see because I'm getting all kinds of benefits already, but you start noticing it start right away. You are move very fast, you are also attack very fast, and this attack speed bonus is important. Not only do you move, you also walk very fast. Attack speed bonus is very important for the traps that I have described previously. Like I have said to you, you are benefiting from having more attack speed. The more attack speed you have, the faster you'll be creating more those traps, and the faster you will also toss your grenades from Fire Blast, in comparison that you will do something without it. So it's good stuff. Now, as far as other things that the skill does, I think I've covered them all. Like, yeah, duration, attack speed, run walk speed, so it's a great thing. You will cast it once, and then you will move with it. You will notice it right away when this effect will run out, because you will start moving slowly, create your traps slowly, and so on and so forth. So in all of the time, you should constantly keep this effect on you when you're playing as a trap assassin. I believe even as a melee assassin, but I have not played with her yet. What else? Oh, I guess I could add to the list of the slight drawbacks to the Wake of Fire. It does cost quite a lot of mana, maybe not as much as Fireball with Sorceress, but until you get to the point where you could equip Spirit, Ancient's Pledge, and you could give Insight to your Merc, you'll be chugging mana potions like there's no tomorrow. It's not... I mean, as for me, I got used to this aspect because I have played exclusively spellcasters, to be honest, and it's not something that I would going to be bragging about or complaining too long. But I know some people might be mispleased or dissatisfied with this. Like, why do I need to constantly chug my mana potion? That's just the mechanics of the game of most of the spellcasters in Diablo 2. In Vanilla or Diablo 2 Resurrected. And yeah, I think I have covered all skills that I wanted to talk about in regards to Trap Assassin when it comes to normal difficulty and leveling. Now, what do I think of her in general? Like some kind of like summary or conclusion for the normal difficulty? I think she's great. If you know how to kite enemies... Oh yeah, kite. Burst of Speed, plus this whole archetype gameplay where you place the traps and they do everything for you. All you have to do is just run away and create the traps again. It's great for kiting. So if you like kiting, if you like to outmaneuver your enemies, if you like speed, if you like to kill them, you know, very fast but not be in danger yourself, like, you know, in comparison to the druid, for instance, when he has to stay in the fray pretty much the whole time. This class is very good for you. Like, I haven't encountered any major difficulties on normal mode so far, and something tells me that on Nightmare it's going to be the same, like, smooth ride from the very beginning until the very end, even with the respec that I will be doing right after I'll complete Act 3 difficulty on Nightmare. But yeah, guys, this is pretty much it. Once again, if you liked the video, if you enjoyed the topic, you definitely need to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and turn the post notification bell on for those videos that are the videos that are becoming next, and if you want to see them firsthand. As for me, my name is Alexander Oston-Nasarievich, and I'm done discussing about Trap Assassin, specifically how good she is at leveling on normal mode. See you in the next video.